With the election of Honorable Tajuddin Abbas and Honorable Benjamin Kalu as the Speaker and Deputy Speaker, respectively, of the 10th House of Representatives, the House is now set to begin its constitutional function of lawmaking. Prior to the election, there seemed to be no opposition along party lines. The lawmakers surprisingly got along and cooperated throughout the voting process. Having adopted an open ballot system where members mentioned the names of their choice candidates for the offices, Abbas pulled a total number of 353 to beat his rivals in the persons of the immediate past Deputy Speaker of the Ninth House, Honorable Idris Wase, and a former chairman of the House Committee on National Intelligence, Aminu Jaji, both of whom scored 3 votes each. Kalu was elected unopposed. Now, having been properly constituted, Nigerians are wondering if the 10th House of Representatives will surpass the gains of the 9th House of Representatives, which ended last week. Joining us now on the morning show is Ikenga Ugochinyere, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party and member of the House of Representatives for Idiato South and North Federal Constituency of Imo State. Honorable Ugochinyere, good morning, and thank you for joining us on the morning show.
Thank you for having me on the morning show. I appreciate it.
Okay, quickly. Honorable Tajuddin Abbas got 353 votes. Now, in terms of the composition of the House, if we take the opposition parties together, you have more than 180 members who belong to the opposition. But by some kind of political engineering, it was as if all the opposition members voted for Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. What do you think accounts for this popularity of Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, that even all the opposition members voted for him?
Well, it's very simple from the beginning, even before the ruling party came up with their zoning formula and the nominees. Most members across all parties, and especially the opposition, came together and formed what we call the Joint Task Force, rooted in the belief that nation building requires a joint task and everybody to put their hands together to achieve it. And when we started, the agenda was that we are all across all party lines are going to agree to back one single candidate. And that candidate must have competence, legislative competence. That candidate must have a legislative trajectory that is unquestionable, in terms of performance, in terms of lawmaking, and so on and so forth. That candidate must be accessible, must be humble, must be able to see all members as one united big family. There will be no discrimination by virtue of your political affiliation, your tribe, or your religion. And that was why everybody agreed that Tajuddin Abbas and Benjamin Kalu is going to be the consensus choice of majority of the lawmakers. As you have said already, he scored 98.3%. He lost only 3 votes out of the 359. And Benjamin Kalu own was a landslide as well. And the reason is that we wanted a deputy speaker that have a legal background, because the major work of a deputy speaker most times is also to chair the House Committee on Constitutional Amendment process. Most of the errors we have been having in the past, at times, it's because some of the deputy speakers may not have the legal grasp of some of the issues that are involved. So with Kalu as a lawyer, and a good one at that most of the desires Nigerian people have in terms of constitutional reforms will come to be. Majority of the members resolved to back them, and also the inclusion that the ticket also parrots. We didn't want a situation where we would have just had one religion dominating all leadership position in the country. Most members felt that there's need to carry everybody along, and that was why with Karl on the ticket and his competence and capacity, everybody agreed that it's best to go with the 2 as our consensus candidates.
All right, thank you, Honorable Ugochinyere. Now, during his valedictory speech, the immediate former Speaker of the House, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, who is now Chief of Staff, had detailed some of the key achievements of the 9th House, House of Assembly, and National Assembly, sorry. And he mentioned some of the key bills that had been passed, some of the gains, and he gave themselves a pass mark. Definitely, the 10th Assembly is looking to surpass the achievements of the 9th Assembly. And you have a unique one whereby the opposition party members make up more numbers in terms of collectively than the ruling party, which is the APC. How would you use this to the advantage of the National Assembly, particularly the speakers, and also, of course, for your constituents as well? What are some of the key achievements to look forward to in the 10th Assembly?
Well, what the 9th Assembly did was very fantastic, as it has to do with kickstarting the process of devolution of powers. You can see some of the bills that were later signed into law, how it will bring so much revolution, like the issue of railway, the issue of power generation. These are things we have been clamoring. And that is why the speech, the acceptance speech or victory speech by Tajuddin Abbas, he said that the 10th Assembly is going to build and surpass the record of the 9th Assembly. That means we are going to deepen further the issues of devolution of powers, economic reforms, political reforms. And Abbas believed that there is no need for everything to be concentrated at the center, issues of primary health, because these are things that can be better addressed even at the state level, at the local government level. He believes that we have to take a look to laws that will help us to have political stability, the issue of rotation of power, and so on and so forth. He strongly believes also that inclusion is key to national stability. He strongly also believes that nation building is a joint task. Everybody must come together for us to make it to work. And more importantly, you have to agree the issue of security, finding a way to ensure. That was why even as a lawmaker then, he proposed a bill for legalizing the issue of vigilantes and so on and so forth. That, community policing involvement in security is also key. Localizing the issues of the security stuff is also very important in finding permanent solutions to issues of insurgency, banditry, and so on and so forth. I can tell you that what the 9th Assembly have done, that we're going to also do more in terms of devolution of powers and economic reforms and political reforms, and also job creations and employment. And more importantly, for our people in Idato, like I always said, if we have a republic that is working efficiently, we all benefit. And in terms of infrastructure development, there's going to be equitable distribution of this project to be ensured that not just only people from Idato, where I come from, but every federal constituency is going to benefit. And projects that are sustainable and that is going to have impact on the economic well-being of our people. But more importantly for you to know, Abbas believes strongly that the issue of cost of running government, that we cannot have a system where almost more than 50% of our resources goes to a payment of salaries and expenditures that doesn't have strong impact on the economy. He strongly believes that we'll have to reduce the cost of running government and focus more on capital projects that will change the lives of our people.
Speaking about the cost of running government, a lot of people say one of the biggest culprits are you people in the NAS. Your budget is over 150 billion, and you guys are still pushing for more money. You earn far too humongous salary compared to what other people earn in the country. I'm asking you, will your members be ready to take a pay cut? I mean, that's a question, as regards, the current fuel subsidy reality Nigerians are facing. And a lot of people have even touted that why don't we just have a unicameral legislature in such a way that we cut the cost that goes to the National Assembly in the first place in total? And I'm also asking you, Honorable Ugochinyere, would you be ready to, for the sake of public interest and accountability, show the world what you earn as a lawmaker when you are being paid?
No, there's no big deal about that. Even though I've not started earning anything, neither do I know how much they are paid or will be paid. But the key in this conversation have been on. But it's also important that we understand that when you mention the 150 billion, you should also take into consideration the agencies that are under that. Remember, the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Study draws from that same amount. Also remember, different institutions that the NAS also have draws from that resources. Not not just the issue of members' salary. There's also a management commission at the National Assembly level that enjoys from those budgetary provisions. So if you look at it, when you measure it with the percentage of the national budget, then I don't think that mainly constitutes the reason why there is no economic progress in the country. I'm not saying this because I'm in the parliament, but I feel that when I get in, I'll be able to have an insider knowledge of what these expenditures are all about, and I'll be able to speak on them.
Okay, so will you be willing to also show people and say, me, Honorable Ugochinyere, this is what I earn, and if it's beyond the average, would you, be willing just to give that level of accountability? Because what a lot of you lawmakers is be shrouded in a lot of secrecy. We just keep hearing numbers here and there.
I don't think transparency and being able to communicate with the people is one of the things the 10th NAS strongly believes in most of our colleagues. There's nothing secret about it. When we get in all those informations that is meant for the public, will go to the public without anyone being withheld.
Well, let's talk about your own legislative agenda. Considering the fact that you had to fight quite a battle to get to this point. You were declared persona non grata in Imo State. There was an attack on January 14 on your place. About 32 of your campaign vehicles were destroyed. You lost your uncle in the course of that. But now you are in Abuja. With that experience, will you be visiting your constituency in Imo State, or you are just relieved that you've won the election, you are in Abuja now? Are you still declared a persona non grata in Imo State by the opposition to your ambition and all of that? So what are your priorities, more or less?
Well, I think that those issues of declaring persona non grata has gone through the process of the courts up to about 12 or 14 litigations where the court quashed most of those allegations and most of those declarations, especially from the controversial commissioner of police, who you are aware was the same man who went to Adamawa to try to overthrow the democratic process by trying to announce a woman that did not win the governorship election, the winner of an election, even when the election has not ended. It was that same commissioner of police. So you need to understand the kind of people that are declaring me persona non grata. These are people who are supposed to be in jail for what they did in Adamawa. So I don't think I have anything to fear because the law is on our side. We have gotten judgments of the court that quashed all those baseless and fabricated charges, and we'll be going home more often to be able to unite with our people. There's nothing that is going to stop me from going home. Nobody can stop me from going home. And coming to our people in Idato, we have serious challenges because the main bridge that connects us with the people from Olo is no longer there. We have to go through a bush path to be able to connect to Ubele down to Akokwa. I will be seeking for federal government intervention as a matter of urgent national importance to help our people have accessible roads. And also issue of electricity. We have been in darkness for almost 12 years now. We're seeking for the intervention of the federal government to help connect our people to the national grid so we can have lights that will help in empowering and encouraging economic activity. But what is more important to us now about it is the issue of security. You know, the activities of known gunmen around the axis of Idato, of Oga, of Oso, Okigwe, and around these. People are leaving those communities, relocating to city center. We'll be seeking for the intervention of the federal government to resolve those issues through dialogue. It's high time for us to be able to come to the table to look at the remote causes of these problems, to find a way to talk to our people, to find a way to address some of the remote reasons for this thing that is rooted in injustice and clamor for fair treatment, and then the kind of issues. All these issues we need to resolve, and we hope and pray that what the president said during his inauguration, that there will be reconciliation and national unity and stability. That the first way to show it, especially as it has to do with the East, is to resolve the insecurity issues and the associated issues, especially the Nandikan issue, so that lives can fully return back to normal in our place. All
right. Still on transparency, beyond the salaries of lawmakers is also constituency projects. Remember the off your mic debacle and the allegations that sometimes representatives have bogus constituency projects without any accountability in terms of how the money is spent, the beneficiaries, or where the project is. How do you hope, as a lawmaker, as a representative, to address this issue? Then beyond that, I'd like to take this opportunity for me to ask you to comment on the elections, the gubernatorial elections in Imo State come 11th November later this year, and your relationship with the governor of Imo State. Have you been able to mend that relationship? And what's your general comments on the coming elections?
Well, there have been complaints about transparency as it has to do with the zonal intervention project. And that was why during the course of campaign, Tajuddin Abbas and Benjamin Kalu said they are going to ensure that there's more transparency, there's more sustainability in terms of, because at times a project that may cost 100 million, somebody may put it for 20 million without knowing because there's no visibility study. And by the time they make a release for 20 million, you see that the whole money may even go to feasibility study, and that project will not be done and people will be complaining. So that is why they say they're going to introduce reforms that will help the project to be transparent and also sustainable, because the whole idea of the zonal intervention project, as you are aware, people are expecting so much from lawmakers. They want lawmakers to build road. They want lawmakers to provide water, light, and electricity, which is wrong, because if you look at the constitutional provision of the responsibilities of lawmakers, you will not see that they don't have any business with directly getting involved in building roads and so on and so forth. And that's why they designed the zonal intervention project, so that lawmakers can attract those projects to their constituents, so that the people can directly see the impact of government because of the pressure they are receiving. I'm not saying that the process has been 100% perfect. There's areas that need to work on, and that is why they say they're going to find a way to make it more transparent, so that it will be very clear to the people from those constituencies and also clear to Nigerians, and also make it sustainable, so that we appropriate monies that at the end of the day will get those projects done, not just do it halfway, and then maybe if there's no other funding next year, the project will not be of any use to the people. So of course there is areas that are going to work on, and they assured us they are going to work on. Even some of us are asking for an increase in the zonal intervention project, so that we can be able to attract more sustainable project to our constituents in the coming budget cycle. And coming to the governorship election in Imo State, I want to make one thing clear. Come November, our people are going to vote, and we're going to vote on the line of what is morally right, what is sustainable, what will make our people in Imo to sleep with two eyes closed. And I must say it categorically, what the governor of Imo State did to me was wrong, was unfair, was morally bad, was even to some extent criminal. I didn't do anything to him. I didn't have any issue with him. This is somebody I have known for a very long time. And all of a sudden, you declare war on a young man that did not do anything to you. Almost over 15 charges that is made up of treason, murder, rape, arson, and so on and so forth. I never killed anybody. I never bombed anywhere. That I raised the issue of the voter register compromise has nothing to do with you, unless you are the one that is involved. Maybe that's why you are finding it very uncomfortable, and you started attacking. And look at what happened when one of the boys that run around him threatened to harm me. Chinasa Kucha played the tape on our rise. The commissioner of police in Imo and the police headquarters never did anything. And then I arrived Owerri. The next thing, I was ambushed and fire were opened on my convoy in Ubele area of Idato South. I complained. I cried. Nobody came to my aid. And he kept on threatening. Then on January 14, fire and bomb was brought to our doorstep. My uncle butchered. Other people that have nothing they did also slaughtered in my place. I escaped because God wants me to be alive. And then all he could say was to say that I brought it upon myself. How do you call yourself a leader that took oath of office to protect lives and property, and you say that you are aware that some people are coming to bomb and execute me, and you kept quiet so that they can carry it? So there's a lot of things that he did because he thinks he has power as a governor, he will get away with it. But I know there is a God, and I know there will be end of tenure, that he should think that this thing will end. It's not the beginning and end of life. This thing has end. Highest, I get to me. You see, leave office like other people, but there's a God that will pass judgment to all of us for what we did. So what he did was very bad. I don't have any good relationship with him because he did evil to me, he did evil to my people, and he refused to do the right thing. And even when evil was brought on our doorstep, he laughed on TV. I watched it also on your TV, where he was laughing and saying that it was my members or people that I was supporting that came to kill me. You know, look at the, and we produced evidence also on TV, because Arise was in Akokwa, we transmitted live. I showed pictures of the vehicle and the plate number that was snatched from a family in Owerri, and that vehicle carried the explosive all the way from Owerri to Akokwa. So how could they have passed all the military checkpoints from Owerri to Akokwa if they were not escorted with the help of government structures? So, but the police kept quiet because the CP is in bed with him, and you can see what the CP also did in Adamawa. I also petitioned the IG. The IG didn't do anything. It was like they just wanted me to be beheaded for nothing. But I give glory to God that I'm alive. So I will not come here to lie to you. We are not friends. Unless he comes publicly to apologize for what he did to our people and did to me, then that will be the beginning for us to talk about having a friendship.
So, well, thank you very much, Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere, for joining us on the morning show. Thank you very much.